didn't happen overnight. But at some point, it became undeniable governments were no longer in control. Not really. When Facebook could influence elections more effectively than a political campaign, when Apple refused to unlock a terrorist's iPhone, and the FBI had to back off, when Amazon started negotiating tax breaks like a sovereign state, something quietly shifted. Power didn't just move. It evolved. Today, a tech executive might hold more global sway than a president. A single algorithm can reshape public opinion faster than any law. And the people? They traded freedom for convenience, apps for agency. So now, the question isn't if corporations influence governments. It's whether they've already replaced them. And if they have your data, your voice, your currency, do they already own you? Hit like, subscribe, and let's go. We still call them companies, but they no longer behave like businesses. They set their own rules, shape global markets, even dictate terms to democratically elected governments. In the early 2000s, big tech was still a rising force, disruptive, powerful, but not yet untouchable. Fast forward to today, and the picture has changed completely. Apple can defy the FBI. Google's algorithms decide what billions see each day. Facebook, now Meta, played a role in elections across multiple continents. Amazon doesn't just sell. It builds infrastructure, controls logistics, and negotiates with cities as if it were a nation-state. These aren't isolated cases, they're the new normal. Politicians speak of regulation, but whisper when Silicon Valley calls. And the public? We welcomed it. We wanted faster deliveries, smarter phones, easier lives, and we got them. But quietly, the balance of power shifted. Not with tanks, but with terms of service. Not with soldiers, but with servers. Big tech doesn't just influence our daily lives, it defines the boundaries of what is possible, what is legal, even what is true. And here's what makes it truly unsettling. No one voted for them. No one chose them to lead. Yet, in almost every way that matters, they already do. Understanding the shift is not about conspiracy, it's about recognizing a reality we all live in, but rarely question. Because once the lines blur between private profit and public power, who keeps them in check? It started small, almost invisible. A search engine that just wanted to organize the world's information. A social network built to connect friends. A bookstore that promised convenience. But behind those friendly slogans, something much bigger was unfolding. In the early 2010s, governments still believed they held the power. Tech companies were partners, tools, not players. But while lawmakers debated, Silicon Valley moved fast. Very fast. Google mapped the entire planet. Facebook collected emotions, behavior, preferences, things even intelligence agencies couldn't reach. Amazon began building not just warehouses, but data centers, transport fleets, surveillance networks. Quietly, the tools we loved were reshaping the systems we lived in. And no one noticed because it felt good. Free apps, 2-day shipping, infinite content. But there was a trade-off, and we signed it. Every time we clicked, I agree. By the mid-2010s, things were already out of balance. Cambridge Analytica exposed how Facebook data could be weaponized. Apple versus the FBI showed how encryption could overpower the law. And still, we scrolled. We streamed. We said, well, it's just the way the world works now. But here's the truth. These weren't just growing businesses. They were becoming parallel governments, without borders, without elections, without accountability. And once they realized how much we trusted them, or needed them, they stopped asking permission. They started making decisions. Quietly, permanently. The world didn't notice the takeover, because it didn't look like one. But now, it may be too late to reverse. In 2016, over 2 billion people saw content filtered by Facebook during the US election cycle, more than all traditional news outlets combined. But who decided what they saw? Not elected officials. Not journalists. Algorithms trained not on ethics, but engagement. Likes, shares, outrage. In a quiet server farm, somewhere in California, lines of code shaped public opinion, and no one could intervene. Now imagine this. Amazon, the largest private employer in the US, can monitor warehouse workers in real time, tracking bathroom breaks, measuring efficiency, and using AI to auto-fire underperformers. No union, no warning, no conversation. Just a line in a system and you're gone. This isn't science fiction. This is the present. Google controls over 90% of search traffic worldwide. If it disappears your name, your company, your idea, do you still exist? Apple, valued at nearly $3 trillion, can shake entire markets with a single privacy update. One change and Facebook's revenue dropped by $10 billion in 2022. That's more than the GDP of some nations. This isn't just business competition, it's systemic influence, without oversight. And while governments hold hearings, tech leaders livestream their responses, unfazed. Behind the polished words and PR smiles, there's a new kind of power, silent, global, unaccountable. And here's the danger. The more you depend on these systems, for communication, for transportation, even for healthcare, the less say you have. Until one day, the platform changes the rules, and you realize you never owned your voice. You were just renting it. Here's the part no one tells you. Big tech doesn't just know what you do, it knows why. It's not just your data, it's your behavior, your patterns, your weaknesses. Predictive algorithms, trained on billions of inputs, can anticipate your next move before you even make it. They don't just sell ads, they sell influence. And now, researchers admit something unsettling. These systems don't need to be perfect, just persuasive enough. Studies in behavioral science show that even a 2% nudge in information flow can change the outcome of an election. That's not science fiction. That's what's already happening. In fact, former Google engineer Tristan Harris revealed that tech platforms operate more like behavioral casinos, constantly testing what keeps us hooked, anxious, buying, scrolling. It's not designed for truth, it's designed for time. Your attention, your choices. And here's where it gets darker. Once AI systems learn what works on humans, they stop needing humans to improve. The systems evolve autonomously, optimizing not for your benefit, but for their objectives. Revenue, retention, control. And because it's all hidden inside proprietary code, no regulator, no citizen, no journalist can fully see what's happening. The real danger? We're already participating. Every click, every swipe, every reaction feeds the machine. And the more it learns, the harder it becomes to say, I chose this. So ask yourself, if an algorithm can shape your thoughts, how sure are you that those thoughts are still yours? Today, we're not just studying behavior, we're engineering it. In research labs funded by tech giants, scientists are mapping the brain's reward systems, not to heal, but to optimize engagement. Neuromarketing, once a fringe science, is now a core strategy. Companies like Meta invest billions in understanding how attention works, how emotion triggers decisions, how design shapes thought. And what's more alarming, these insights don't stay in the lab. They're embedded in the interfaces we use daily. Infinite scroll wasn't an accident. It was a calculated invention to eliminate stop cues, keeping you locked in. Push notifications, microdoses of dopamine. Even the color red for alerts is chosen because it increases urgency and anxiety. Meanwhile, AI has moved far beyond recommendation engines. Large language models now power customer service, legal drafting, even military strategy simulations. These systems don't sleep, don't forget, and don't forgive mistakes. They learn, adapt, and scale faster than any law can regulate. Governments are studying AI ethics, creating commissions, drafting policy papers, but they're always behind. Because the frontier of control isn't just economic, it's cognitive. The goal isn't to control what you buy, it's to influence how you decide. Researchers warn of autonomy erosion, the slow decline of independent decision-making as we outsource more and more to machines. And here's the real breakthrough. It doesn't feel like control. It feels like personalization, like convenience, like freedom. But as the science gets better, your ability to notice it gets worse. Some call it progress, others surrender. Because with every breakthrough in technology, a question lingers. What are we giving up? On one side, there's convenience, efficiency, empowerment. Algorithms save lives in hospitals. AI predicts natural disasters. Connectivity gives a voice to the voiceless. We live longer, move faster, no more. But on the other side, there's something harder to measure. Our patience, our memory, our ability to think without being told what to think. When a child learns to read from a tablet, not a parent, who sets the values? When a voter forms opinions from headlines auto-curated by machine learning, is that still democracy? Some theorists argue we're not losing control, we're evolving, merging with our tools, building a symbiotic intelligence. But critics warn this isn't symbiosis. It's dependence. We don't ask questions, we Google. We don't debate, we scroll. And the most dangerous part? We like it. That's the trap. Progress that feels like freedom until it's too late to turn back. Some see it as the inevitable arc of civilization. Power always shifts. But this time, it didn't shift to kings or governments. It shifted to code, to systems no one voted for and no one fully understands. So what happens when your reality is shaped by something that has no conscience? No empathy, just logic and goals you didn't set. This is the price we rarely discuss. Not just what technology gives us, but what it quietly takes away. The shift has already begun. Across the world, we're seeing the first fractures. Political systems struggling to function in an algorithmic reality. Societies dividing faster than dialogue can keep up. Young people trust influencers more than institutions. News is consumed through 15-second clips, optimized for attention, not accuracy. And jobs? Entire industries are vanishing, automated into silence. The practical impact? More than just economics. It's a deep psychological change. Anxiety levels are rising, attention spans shrinking. Loneliness spreads in a world more connected than ever before. And behind it all, the machine keeps learning. Tech companies are no longer reacting to human needs. They're shaping them, quietly, efficiently. And now, some experts speak of a new evolutionary leap, not of biology, but of intelligence. A race of systems, artificial, scalable, tireless, that may soon surpass not just what humans can do, but what humans can understand. These systems don't hate us. They don't want power the way we define it. But they will optimize, and we may simply be in the way. Governments, scrambling to respond, pass laws years too late. Committees are formed, policies debated, but the servers keep running. Unbothered. Unstoppable. The human cost? Already visible. Mental health crises. Loss of autonomy. Entire generations born into systems they never agreed to. And as these systems integrate deeper into healthcare, education, defense, the line between tool and master fades. So the real question becomes, if the future is designed by code, who's writing the script? So now we stand at a quiet crossroads. No fireworks, no revolutions, just a silent decision playing out in millions of moments each day. Every time we unlock a phone, ask an AI for advice, or scroll past something that once would have outraged us, we're choosing not just convenience, but a system, a direction, a future. And the truth is, we're running out of time to pretend it's neutral. Technology isn't just a mirror, it's a mold. It doesn't just show who we are, it shapes who we become. If we continue on this path, where profit defines progress and engagement defines truth, we may not lose the world overnight, but we will lose the ability to recognize when we've already lost it. Some believe we can still reclaim control through transparency, through regulation, through human-centered design. Others say it's too late, that we've passed the point where humanity leads, that we've outsourced too much for too long to systems we don't understand, and now we serve them. This isn't just about technology. It's about values. About whether we believe freedom can exist without friction, whether intelligence without empathy should guide our lives. And maybe, the hardest question of all, if we were offered the perfect system, one that fed us, guided us, protected us, but silently erased our ability to choose, would we even notice it happening? Remember how we started? It didn't happen overnight. And it didn't. But maybe the scariest part is, it didn't feel like anything at all. No sirens. No warnings. Just a quiet drift, one notification at a time. And now here we are, you and me, talking not through letters, or voices, or even thoughts of our own, but through platforms designed to decide what matters. And here's what keeps me up at night. I don't know if I'm talking to you, or to the version of you the algorithm thinks I want. That's how deep this goes. The lines between truth and trend, thought, and trigger have blurred, not because someone forced them, but because we didn't notice. Or maybe didn't want to. So here's my honest question, the one I ask myself more and more. What happens when the last part of you that's truly yours starts syncing with a system that doesn't even know your name, just your data? Would you recognize it? Would you care? And if not, then who are you becoming? This isn't a warning from the future. It's a mirror held up to the present. Because somewhere out there, right now, someone just whispered into a microphone, and an AI will decide whether their voice gets heard. That someone could be you. So tell me, what do you think? Did we give up too much? Or is this the future we deserve? Let me know in the comments. I'm really listening.